Hey guys, happy Easter. We'll give you a recap of what happened. All right. First, March 25th. Major averages were down, major cryptos are up. 2, 5 to 10 year was up. WTI, Brent crude, natural gas was up. Lockheed Martin was down. Invesco QQQ was down. Apple was down. The Russell 2000 was up. The VIX was up. Dow Transport was down. Ultra Beauty was down. The 30-year fix was down to 6.91%. The 30-year jumbo was down. 15-year jumbo was down. The Dow S&P was on track for back-to-back declines. The Nasdaq could snap a 5-day win streak if declines. Small caps outperforming. Majors on track for 5 straight positive month. Treasury yields mostly high. Energy sector hits 52-week high. Leading S&P sectors were energy, utilities. The laggards were consumer staples, industrials, and communication services. The best S&P was Supermicro. Worst S&P was United Airlines. The euro was up, the yen was up, pound was up. Boeing CEO stepped down at the year end. The FTSE 100 was down. The DAX was up. CAC around was up. Household goods are a laggard in the eurozone. The dollar rise 3% year to date. Intel and AMD was in the red. Not all data chips are created equally. Companies who are helping build out data centers on the heating and cooling side and the capex spenders have upside to feed estimates. Dow closes more than 150 points lower as stocks take a break from their rally. Musk ex court loses lawsuit against hate speech watchdog, and Shell to divest around 1,000 gas stations as it expands EV charging network. Copper options open interest surpasses 200,000 for the first time ever. Jeff Kilberg says the recent S&P price target boosts are unsettling, and Dave Calhoun, $15 million bet on the next CEO at Boeing. More to come on that front. Day March 26, Doc's future edge higher, S&P up. The Dow and the Nasdaq was up. The Nikkei was up. The Nikkei was down. The Hang Seng was up. 30-year fix was up. 15-year fix was up. 30-year jumbo was up. FTSE was down. The CAC was down. DAX was up. Brent was up. WTI, West Texas Intermediate, was up. Natural gas was up. Adam Newman makes $500 million bid for WeWork. The 2-year was up, 10-year was down. GameStop, biggest gain since December. Bitcoin's down and over 70,000. Gold's up, silver's down, copper's down. Gold holds tight range based on U.S. inflation data. The euro was up, yen was down, pound was up. The Euro Commission issues probe against Apple and Alphabet are restricting sales of Rival and Meta with the DMA, and that's the Digital Markets Act. Meta Platforms up. Wedbush revises Microsoft price target. Microsoft's cloud dominance and AI market share, finding active use cases with return on investment. Dell reducing workforce. Cliff CEO talks U.S. Steel bid. The New York Stock Exchange to delist Fisker stock before it files for bankruptcy. Home sharing platform Picasso expands, offered lower home prices as low as 200,000 to vacation home listings, 10% appreciation. South Korean majors up. China real estate falling for 8 straight months. Larry Fink says to retire wealthy by investing in capital markets. S&P 500 closes lower for a third straight session as market rally cools. Using your premium credit card may cost more after the Visa MasterCard deal. Dow's 114-point drop led by losses for Intel, Microsoft stocks. Inflation data was eyed. Apple, Google, Gemini talks give the Department of Justice an opening to regulate AI. Boeing stock dropped 40% and the CEO made millions. Moody's places Boeing rating on review for downgrade. Berkshire buys more Liberty Cyrus XM stock, now owns $2.5 billion of Tracker. Disney is pulling back on India plans. Nike wants to make Air Force One sneakers harder to find. Now on Wednesday, hump day, March 27th, major averages were up. Crypto was down. The FTSE, the DAC, and the CAC were up. Vanguard was up. JP Morgan was up. Micron was up. The 2, the 5, and the 10-year Treasury notes went down. WTI and Brent crude was up. Natural gas went down. General Electric was up. Microsoft was up. United Health was up. The Russell 2000 was up. The VIX was down. The Dow Transports was up. PDD Holdings was down. The 30-year fix was down. The 15-year and the 30-year jumbo was unchanged. American Express was up. The 3-month Treasury ETF was up. Gold, silver, and copper were up. The Spider Bloomberg was up. BlackRock was up. The S&P new record close, and the Dow snaps a 3-day losing streak. Bitcoin with a 15% upside with a no-sell signal on the horizon. Viking Therapeutics stock prices soar and positive weight loss data. The Fed rate cut could have a negative outlook on stock markets. The indexes slip over inflation data. Credit card reward programs impacted by a new agreement. Insurance claim for the bridge collapse could hit $1.5 billion. U.S. futures up after a day of declines. Companies are luring investors by exaggerating on their AI actions. Zuckerberg and Huang do a Meta Nvidia jersey swap. Mike Lindell fails to pay rent. He's evicted from his warehouse. First Nations of Canada building housing, high-rises, and battery plants. Japan producing so few babies that diaper makers are shifting to adults. California fast food restaurants lay off workers to prepare $20 wages. U.S. stock rise after 3-day losing streak. Robinhood stock price surge after solid gold credit card launch, 3% cash back. Bernstein says Tesla stock could crash 33%. Small caps could surge 50%, says Tom Lee. And Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says China has a plan to disrupt the global economy. Now, Thursday, March 28th, had the averages mixed with the NASDAQ being a laggard. Major cryptos were up. The 2, the 5, and the 10-year were up. WTI, Brent crude, natural gas was up. JP Morgan was up. Southern Copper was up. The Russell 2000 was up. The VIX was up. The Dow Transports was up. S&P hit intraday record high. The 30-year was down. The 30-year fix and the 15-year fix and the 30-year jumbo were all unchanged. Phillips was up. Old Dominion was up. Gold, silver, copper was up. Wells Fargo was up. Energy utilities, financials, and real estate were up. Industrials were up. Yeah, uh, said Cromwell Corporation, they were up. Moderna was down. Tesla was down. General Electric was down. Norwegian Cruise Line was down. Uber was down. Meta Platforms was down. Apple, Microsoft was down. Nvidia was up. Walmart, Procter and Gamble was down. The Spider Index was down. Verizon, Chevron was up. Boeing, Caterpillar, and Goldman Sachs was up. Alphabet Class A, Google was up. Uh, Union Pacific was unchanged. Texas Instrument was up. Energy was up 10%. Amazon was up 22nd new record for the S&P in the first quarter. Paychecks, Warner Brothers was up. Visa and Berkshire Hathaway was up. The euro was down. The pound was down. The yen was up. The FTSE was up. The German DAX was up. The CAC around France was up. It's the best quarter since 2019. Back to Fisker, from the beginning of the week, Fisker had reservation cancellations up to 40,000. All right. Valid Mind, which helps banks with AI risk, raised $8 million. The stock rally has the take. I know the stock rally has took the wealth of the 1% to a record high of 44 trillion. MicroStrategy stock trading at 177,000 per Bitcoin premium. Another back to Fisker again. Fisker lost track of millions of dollars in payments. That's not good. Walgreens closing 160 Village MD primary care clinics. The Dogecoin price jump 18% as a $31 billion valuation eclipses Deutsche Bank. US and the UK are looking into 20 billion of crypto payments amid the Russian sanctions, and Boeing is looking for an engineer CEO. Well, that was Thursday. The next day, on the 29th, was Good Friday. Marcus was closed. And yep, ready for the good action to begin again tomorrow. Hope you have a happy Easter, and talk to you later.